We all want that feeling of control, right? Especially at work, trying to understand people make good decisions.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in this deep dive, we're kind of unpacking some really powerful but simplified ideas from various books. We're focusing on these common cognitive biases, the sort of mental shortcuts that can, well, blind us.
And that's such a crucial point. Because really, understanding other people, getting real insight, it starts with knowing yourself.
How so?
Well, you'll only really see the kind of depth in others that you're able to recognize in yourself, you know? If you haven't done that work, you often end up just projecting your own stuff onto everyone else.
Yeah.
Seeing yourself everywhere. And that usually leads to judgment, not understanding.
Okay, right. Let's unpack this then. The first bias we wanted to talk about is survivorship bias. This is that logical mistake where we focus only on the things or people that made it through some process. The survivors.
Exactly. We ignore everything that didn't make it.
Yeah, we totally miss the failures or the dropouts.
It's like looking at, say, really old buildings that are still standing. You know, a 1,000-year-old church or something.
Right. You think, wow, they built things so much better back then.
Precisely. But you're forgetting, like, the hundreds, maybe thousands of other buildings from that same time that just collapsed or burned down or got torn down. You only see the winners.
That's a great visual. So you're making assumptions based on incomplete data. How does this pop up in, like, a business context?
Oh, constantly. Imagine a sales manager. Let's call him Martin. He looks only at his top two salespeople, Angela and Derek, sees their success.
Okay.
And maybe they use these semi-aggressive tactics.
Yeah.
So Martin thinks, aha, that's the secret, and tells the whole team to do it that way.
Ignoring everyone else's approach or the times those tactics failed.
Totally ignoring the diversity of strategies, the near misses, the outright failures. He's only looking at the survivors, Angela and Derek.
Yeah.
And surprise, surprise, mandating that one style often starts backfiring.
Right, because context matters. Okay, this next one gets really interesting. Confirmation bias.
Yes, the big one.
This is basically our tendency to, well, look for information that confirms what we already believe. We search for it. We interpret things that way. We remember the hits and forget the misses.
We really do love being right. And honestly, if you want the perfect example of a confirmation bias engine,
Yeah.
just look at social media.
Oh, definitely.
It's literally designed, the algorithms, to feed you more and more of what it thinks you already agree with. It digs you deeper into your existing views.
Scary stuff. So let's paint a picture. Maybe Dwight, a sales consultant, he's obsessed with linguistics, thinks the perfect script is everything.
Right. The magic bullet.
He attributes every single sale to how well the script was followed. If sales dip or clients say the calls feel, I don't know, impersonal.
He doesn't question the script itself.
Nope. He ignores things like rapport or empathy or just, listening. He just tells the team they need to stick to the script better. He's confirming his own belief, even when the evidence maybe points elsewhere, leads to disconnected salespeople, bad calls.
He's trapped in that confirmation loop. Okay, bias number 3, and this one can really mess with our judgment. Overconfidence bias.
So being too sure of yourself.
Yeah, basically holding this unjustifiably high level of confidence in your own abilities, your judgments, your predictions, way more confident than the evidence warrants.
It's not just thinking you're right, it's like this certainty that you can't possibly be wrong. Give us an example.
Okay, think about Jim Halpert. New tech sales rep, maybe does a quick seminar, lands a couple of small, easy wins early on.
It's a confidence boost.
A huge one. He starts feeling like he's got it all figured out. His boss, Michael Scott, who maybe has years of experience, tries to give him advice about, really understanding the people he's selling to, the human element.
And Jim
just shrugs it off, thinks it's old school stuff. Then, when the bigger, more complex deals start falling through, what does he say?
Uh-oh.
He blames the numbers game. You hear that phrase a lot with this bias. It's easier that admitting his skills might be too narrow or that he overestimated his abilities.
Wow, that's easy to see happening. And you mentioned these biases don't always operate alone, right? They can overlap.
Exactly. They often combine, making things even trickier. Like, you might get blind certainty.
What's that?
That's when overconfidence meets confirmation bias. You're not just overly sure you're right. You actively filter out, ignore, or dismiss any information that challenges that belief.
So you become almost immune to feedback or new ideas?
Pretty much. It leads to this sort of mental myopia, a real failure to see alternatives or adapt, a blindfold collapse, you can call it.
Okay, this is all fascinating, but maybe a little daunting. how do we actually start spotting these biases in ourselves, maybe even in others? You mentioned some questions.
Yeah, there's a practical way. Asking targeted questions can really help cultivate that self-awareness. They're like tools for self-assessment.
What kind of questions?
Well, for confirmation bias, you could ask yourself, honestly, when was the last time I actually changed my mind about something important after getting new information that contradicted my view?
Oof, that requires real honesty.
It does. For overconfidence, how do I typically react when I get critical feedback on my work? Do I get defensive, or do I genuinely consider it?
And for survivorship bias.
Maybe ask, when I look at successful people in my field, what factors do I credit for their success? Am I only seeing the obvious wins, or am I considering the failures, the luck, the context I might be missing?
It's not just asking, it's the reflection afterwards, isn't it? Sitting with the uncomfortable answers sometimes.
That's where the growth happens. And, these questions are great for yourself, but what if you see these blind spots in someone else? Giving that feedback is tough.
Yeah, people can get defensive.
Right. So one little technique, kind of a psychological nudge, is how you frame it. Instead of just pointing out the flaw, you could start by saying something like, the good news is you're right on the edge.
On the edge?
Yeah, like you're right on the edge of really breaking through here, and maybe just tweaking this one perspective could unlock it. It makes the feedback feel less like criticism and more like potential, makes the change seem manageable.
That's clever. Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway here?
Well, I think it's just recognizing the power of these three biases: survivorship, confirmation, overconfidence. They really do shape how we see the world, how we make decisions, how we interact.
And just knowing about them is the first step to maybe, hopefully, countering them a bit for better judgment, better connections.
Absolutely. And maybe here's a final thought for everyone listening. Start noticing these potential blind spots in your own thinking, your own tradecraft, whatever your field is. And notice them in others too. How might recognizing these fundamentally change how you learn, how you take feedback, or even how you try to persuade someone? Start like today. What important truth might you have been overlooking because of one of these biases?